Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I thought I would do the mid-year book freakout tag. We're nearing the end of June, so I guess it's the time to kind of get to do this and figure out what I've read so far this year that's been good and bad. Right now, I've finished about 24 books. I'm not counting my graphic novels that I've read this year because I would be over 30. But of the books, I've read 24, and my goal for Goodreads is about 50. So I figure I'm right on track. I should finish a book today and then a couple more hopefully next week, or at least one big one. Haven't decided what I'm reading next. So anyway, so I thought I'd do this as a good thing to go through what books I have read and enjoyed and let you guys know. So I've linked the original creators down below in case you want to see their original videos from, I guess it was 2015 or 16. So I guess this tag's been around a while, but it's my first tag, so here we go. So question number 1 is best book you've read so far this year, without a doubt. For me, it was Alingi Singh's Silver Silence. It's number 15 in her Side Changeling paranormal romance series. I just love this series for its world building, and yes, it's romance, but the world is just so incredible, and so there's so many characters in this world, and that's why I keep reading is because they bring back characters that I like from previous books, and it just builds the tension. So like the first 14 books was like pretty much one season, and this is the first book to the second season of her novels, which I think is a really cool idea. So anyway, I love this book. I totally am glad I read that, and it was my first, again, I read it when the first day it came out, so that kind of shows you how excited I was for that book. So number 2, the best sequel you've read so far. Now again, that was technically a sequel, but this is what I'm going to pick is The Unyielding by Shelley Lawrenston. This is book number 3 in the Call of Crows, and this book made me laugh so hard. They all do. I mean, she's a really funny writer. These are completely insane urban fantasies, paranormal romance. It's kind of on the edge there. I guess it would probably be considered paranormal romance, but the world building is really good because it has to do with Vikings and Valhalla and all that kind of stuff. And it's, and hell and everything. Like hell is in the creature from Norse mythology and stuff. So I really enjoyed this. I laughed because this was the character I was most worried about that she'd get her own book, and actually the author pulled it off. I was like, I don't know if I like that character enough for a whole book of her, but it was fantastic, and I really liked that. So I'm really glad I read that. Question number 3 is a new release you have not read yet but want to. I just got Raven's Stratagem because it just came out by Yoon Ha Lee. I'm one of those people who loved Nine Fox Gambit, and so I was looking forward to continuing on, and I got this. So this might be what I read after the book I'm finishing today, but I'm not sure. So it's going to be in the next couple weeks I'm going to read this because I've been looking forward to that. Question number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Now, because this is June 24th, and I'll post this probably today, and this book comes out on June 27th, I'm going to count it as my most anticipated release because I probably won't get to start it right when I get it because I'll probably be in the middle of another book. But it is the book I have been waiting for all year for. So I am super excited to get The Witchwood Crown by Tad Williams. He is my favorite fantasy, especially epic fantasy writer, and I pretty much buy everything of his. There's a couple of things I have not liked, of course, because there are certain things that I just didn't care about, but there are certain stories, and the Dragonbone Chair, or, the Memory, Sorrow and Thorn series is, I have to remember which way it goes. That series was one of my first epic fantasies that was not related to like Dragonlance or some other kind of spin-off from a D&D thing. So Tad Williams opened my eyes to epic fantasy, and he has a special place in my heart because I was like 13, 14 when I read the first book, and I read them as they came out, so it was just spectacular. So I'm so excited to go back to that world, and I know it's years later, and I'm all excited to see what happens with that. Okay, so question number 5 is biggest disappointment. And I'm going to say it was Stephen, okay, how can I get this to work? Sorry. Stephen Blackmore's Dead Things. I got this from the library. It's the first book in an urban fantasy series I've always been interested in because it had magic. He's a neuromancer, and I thought, oh, this is great, all this magic and all this stuff, and vengeful gods and all this stuff. I hated this book. This is actually the book I gave a 1-star to this year. I gave it a 2 at first, but I changed my rating because I hated it so much. Every time I thought he's gonna make good, he's gonna do good, he would just screw it up. And I got to the end of the book, and something happens at the end. I go, okay, if they do this, if he does this one thing, that's it. I am done with this series. And yeah, he did it, and I was pissed, and I won't read in that series again. I'm not saying I won't read the author again. I'm just not reading that series anymore. So I don't know if he has any other books, Stephen Blackmore, but I am not reading in that series, the Eric Carter series. I did not enjoy it, clearly. Question number 6 is biggest surprise. I'm going to go with 9 Fox Gambit by Yoon Ha Lee. I don't read a whole lot of science fiction, but I do like it every once in a while. And this was one of those books where I heard everybody was kind of polarized. They either like it or they hate it. And I was like, well, I'm going to give it a shot. Everybody's talking about it. So, I was attracted to the idea of the officer who has to have an undead strategian general attached to her in her head, so she hears him all the time. So I thought it would be an interesting premise, and so I went with it. And I love this book. I liked it because I had to think, and I didn't know what was going on in the beginning. And as it went along, I liked that I was discovering things. I'm like, oh, that's what that means. Oh, that's what that means. And I enjoyed that. So that's why I'm looking so forward to reading the next book. But that was the biggest surprise for me. I love that book. So 7, favorite new author or a debut to me. And I'm going to say Heather Tucker and The Clay Girl, from The Clay Girl. I loved The Clay Girl. I gave it a 4.5. Almost a 5. It was so close. But I love the writing. It was so lyrical and it was so beautiful. The way she did the young girl at 8 and 10, and then as she grows and how it changes. I thought it was really done, and I am so looking forward to anything else she writes. I will pick it up no matter what, and I'm so glad that I saw that on Mercedes' channel, and I'll link her down below. But that was awesome. I'm so glad that I picked that up. Let's see here. So, 8 is newest fictional crush. Now, I don't really do crushes. I have to say that I probably, I'm just not into that. I know a lot of people aren't. And, my biggest thing is that I like characters together. So, again, I loved, I'll go with the Silver Silence from the first, the characters in there, Silver and Valentine, were my favorite together. Because again, they were the romance ones, are the ones I've read this year. So I would definitely say they were the ones. Again, that was that one. Sorry, they were my favorite characters. So favorite crush. I like their relationship the best so far this year. I'm gonna go with that. It's not my crush anyway. Newest favorite character. I'm gonna bring up the main character of The Clay Girl, Ari. Just stole my heart. And it hurt so much when she hurt, but I loved how strong she was and how she made through it. And as I said, she is definitely my favorite character so far this year. So here, 10 books that made you cry. I do occasionally cry at books. So far this year, though, not. I would think The Clay Girl. There was a couple moments where it was kind of bad. As I said, it has some trigger warnings, I guess, for abuse and stuff. So there were some ones that were it was crushing, but I didn't quite cry. I would say that was the closest, but I didn't cry, but it was really close. Number 11, books that made you happy. And again, going back to my love of Ted Williams, is when The Heart of What Was Lost came out in January. This is a book that, it's not that long. It's like a fill-in novel between, I put this book in backwards. I'll have to change that. Sorry, under the cover. this book came out as kind of a in between the old series, the Misery, Sorrow, and Thorn, you know, with the Dragonbone Chair. That series came out back in the, you know, early 90s. And so he wrote The Witchwood Crown, and then because of timing of, I guess, publications and stuff, he was able to write a couple of novels, small novels. So this is about 200 pages, and it just takes place right after the end of To Green Angel Tower. And so I liked it because we met a few characters we didn't know. We got to know the Norns, who are the bad guys, you know, well, they're the bad guys, right, in the first series. And I loved that we got to see one of my favorite characters, Duke, oh God, can I say his name? No, probably not. Is Grimnor, I think is his name. I like that we get to see his perspective, and it was just falling back into a world that I loved. So this book made me so happy. I read 200 pages so slowly, though, because I was savoring every moment because I just loved it so much. I'm so looking forward to Witchwood Crown. Anyway. Okay, so 12. Favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year? I have not seen any films really this year. I mean, I've seen a couple of Marvel stuff and a couple of, you know, I think I saw some DC stuff earlier in the year. I don't think I've seen anything. I think there's some that I'm looking forward to. I kind of want to see My Cousin Rachel later, but I haven't read that book yet, so I'm not sure if I probably want to read the book before I watch that. I don't have any answers to this question. I haven't seen anything. I really want to see American Gods. I love the book from Neil Gaiman. I read it years ago, probably around when it first came out. I reread it again about 5 years ago for a book club, and I still liked it. It was really weird because I didn't remember everything. So I read it again and I really liked it. So, and I might reread it again because before I watch the TV series. But I'm going to wait till the TV series is played out and then I'll see it on something, or I'll buy it or whatever. Anyway, I don't have paid channels. So anyway, I don't know if I would say that was my favorite. It just means that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. Okay, so number 13 is favorite review you've written this year, or Booktube is favorite video you've made this year. I've only recently gotten on Booktube. I'm about, you know, almost 2 months, not quite that. I haven't done any full reviews yet. I haven't got to the confidence yet to do that. So I'm going to say I don't have an answer for this one either. I'm hoping, you know, some of the things I say in my wrap-ups that maybe make someone want to try some books. I'm just not sure if I can pick out and say that's the one I liked. Anyway, so I'm not really going to answer this question. Or any more than that. Number 14, most beautiful book you bought so far this year or received. I don't usually receive many books because people just give me money, let me buy what I want, because I have so many books. They don't know what I want or have. So, but, you know, I'm going to say I picked Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shauna McGuire. The only reason is because I like it because it's so desolate, and that feel of the book is so into that. And I like the way it's just, I don't know, I just kind of like the cover. I don't pick books by their cover. I know people talk about, oh, beautiful cover, blah. I know when I don't like a cover, like I've mentioned some other ones, but I don't really think about what's the prettiest one. So this is the closest I could come up with. I liked it because it matched the story so well. So I like that. And I think that was it. Yeah. So, okay. So, sorry. Number 15 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I don't like the word need to read. I just said I would like to read. The only one I need to read is my TBR jar pick, which is Tigana by Guy Garville Kay. I need to read this by the end of July. So this is a book that I'm going to probably pick up in the next week or so. There is a readathon going to happen by Katie Loves to Read, I think, and I'll link that down below. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do that because I'm failing, or I failed at the War and Peace read-along. I found that I do not read at a speed that, you know, you stop and go like a couple chapters a day. I don't do that. I'm really better at just going full force. So I figure I'm going to read this the next week or two to get it done because it's a big one. And that's the only one I have to read. Things I would like to read is I would like to read 1984 by George Orwell. I just finished Brave New World earlier this month, so I would like to read this to kind of see the differences and get through my dystopia as fast as possible. I mean, it's just one of those ones I've always wanted to read, and I never have, and stuff. So another book that I guess I'll have to read it because it's one of my book club's picks, and it's the pick for July, is To Like the Lightning by Ada Palmer. I bought this book a week before we voted on what we were going to read, and this happened to be the one they voted for July, so that was awesome because I had already bought it. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know a whole lot about it because, again, I bought it because I just saw it online or something, and all I know is it's supposed to do something with spiritual about some kid who can change the world or something, and I don't know. I don't actually really know. I'm going to really blind. I kind of, that's when I don't mind doing that, but since I have to read it anyway. So, and if I like it, I'll get the sequel. And another book that I would like to read pretty soon is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames. I just think it sounds funny, and these older mercenaries who try to get back in the gang, get the gang back together and try to go back out and save somebody's daughter or something. That kind of looks like it'll be a fun ride, so I kind of want to do that. I also want to finish the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I don't remember what exactly it's called. So V-Shop. So I have a Gathering of Shadows, and I just got a copy of Conjuring of Light, so I can now go through those because I hear this has a cliffhanger. So I've read the first book. I should read the second and the third pretty soon. And then the last is a series that I would really like to finish this year, and is the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I've read the 5th season. I have the Obelisk Gate, but I have not picked it up. I'm in the middle of rereading this. I started to read it a month or so ago, and then I decided I'm just going to wait, and then July I'm going to read this, and then read Obelisk Gate, and then the Stone Sky is coming out in August. So, or I'll just read them all in August. I don't know. I'm going to probably read them pretty much back to back just to go through them. I'm looking forward to this because I really loved this book, and I wanted to get through that. So that's it. That's all the questions, and I made it through this tag, and it is extremely long. Wow, that doesn't surprise me. I'm pretty bad about timing. So anyway, hey, do this tag if you're up for it. I don't tag anybody because I don't know anybody. So anyway, so I will see you guys later. Bye.